Hi guys, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, June 26, 2012. This is Jennifer. As you can see behind me, I have a lovely quilt top. This was made for the Linus Connection. I went to a Linus Connection work day on Saturday. And when we have work days, everybody brings their sewing machines or they bring their yarn. And there are pre-cut kits that we make usually at the work days, or some of our volunteers will make them. And the kits will be just squares. These are actually 4.5-inch squares, or they will be bricks, or they will be tumbling blocks, or something that's really easy to piece together and make a really nice, very cute, child-friendly quilt top. So just the squares were in the kit that I took, and then the border I made from fabrics that were available at the workday. I just picked some random fabrics and figured out my borders and put the borders on. I also did I completed binding on a number of quilts that were quilted by some of our long arm quilters but needed binding in order to be finished to be turned in. Workdays are always a lot of fun because we are in a situation where everybody's kind of low-key and we're all hanging out and we have hours to work, whereas our monthly meeting, which is only once a month, we're only there for about 2 hours. So that usually, like, I'm in charge of blanket sorting, so when I'm at a monthly meeting, I'm either sorting blankets or taking pictures for show and tell, and that's pretty much it. So I don't really get a chance to talk and be sociable with the other people that are there. So that's why work days are so fun for volunteers. So other than my Linus top, I did finish another project which you won't get to see until probably October, November. I'm very excited to share that, but it's got to be under wraps for now. I've also been costuming with Gareth. He's been helping me a lot with his costume, his Eridan costume, which was the one I showed you that has it has the cloak, the purple cloak, and it has the striped pants and the stenciled tee and the scarf. So we're almost done with his costume. He had helped me paint the shoes, and the shoes look like this. So they are blue in the center with purple on the sides, and these were just white, very inexpensive, like $12 canvas shoes that we painted. And so these are ready to go. His character also wears a bunch of rings, and so what we did was we found 2 little packages of just costume jewelry rings at Hobby Lobby for a couple of bucks, and we modified them to look like the rings that his character wears. So these have little purple gemstones on them, and he wears them all over his different fingers. And then there's a plain one. This one, we actually used bead in the bottle to make this little purple line on there. The beads in the bottle look like this. I mentioned these to Sasha not long ago, and they make the little dots like this, but that's what we used to create this ring. And then this ring is his favorite that we made. This one has the Aquarius symbol, which is the symbol that the character represents. Like, he has it on his shirt, and that's it, like his symbol. So this ring was a ring that had a bezel on it, and then I took this symbol and made it the color he wanted, and I shrunk it down to the right size and printed it on my printer, and then we stuck it inside the ring, and then I used the Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. I took a piece of upholstery foam and I cut a slit in it, and I just stuck the ring in top of it, and I made sure it was nice and flat, and then I poured the Dimensional Magic on top, and you let it dry for 24 hours. It does shrink a little, so you can see it's not quite flat, but he loves it. This is his favorite ring that we've done. The other thing that we did figure out were his ears, which are, he has gills for his ears, or fins. I think they're fins. So anyway, so these are his ears, and these are actually made of polymer clay. I did a lot of research online, and I looked for latex ears. I looked at all kinds of different ways to create these ears, and in the end we ended up doing completely our own thing because we couldn't find anything that was, 1, within our budget, and 2, easy enough for us to do without learning 100 new skills. Like, to make our own latex ears would have required a huge initial investment, and plus I would have had to learn how to do it, which, while it looks really fascinating and I wouldn't mind learning to do that, we're under a time crunch and I've only got 2 more weeks till this all has to be done, and I'm doing this in between doing other things. So we really needed to have it done. So what happened was Gareth actually drew this for me, and this is the shape that he wanted, and so I took that and I put it on top of the polymer clay that I had run through the polymer clay like pasta machine, and I trimmed it out, and then I outlined all of these shapes. And the back, I used little snakes of polymer clay to make this shape on the front. And then it has a little, sort of a little pocket, and that actually fits on top of his ear, so I will demonstrate. So that fits on top of his ear. And then we're just going to use a little spirit gum under there to hold it in place. And then when we paint his face, these will match. And probably what I'm going to do is I'll paint these with the same paint as the face paint. And that way they'll match really well with his costume. The only thing we have left are the horns, and I have the stuff to make the horns. We're going to use this stuff, which is cloud clay, and it's like a paper clay, kind of really lightweight sort of thing. So we're going to use this. I've found a couple of tutorials online where you make the horns and you actually leave a hole in the base so you can thread a like a ribbon or something through it to tie it onto the head, which we think will probably work best with a wig. So this is a very elaborate costume, and he says he's going to wear it again for Halloween, which is really good because I don't want to have to do all this again in October. The last thing I want to share is my brand new pattern set that is on Sew Hooked, and it's on Craftsy. It is $8 for the set, and it includes 6 patterns for individual blocks plus a layout to create an entire quilt. So what I made were chess pieces. So we have a pawn, and we have a rook, and a knight, and a bishop, and a queen, and a king. So these I made a little different from most of my blocks. They do finish 5.5 inches if you want them to finish 5.5 inches. But where the seam line is right here, that's actually the outside edge of the block. So the block itself, the pattern makes a 2.5 inch wide by 5.5 inch wide unfinished piece. And then if you want it to be 5.5 inches, you add the strips on the side. And then I include in the pattern a chart and a diagram for how to make an entire chessboard. Now I only did the setup layout, so if you wanted a different layout, you would have to figure that one out on your own. But I did do like the starting layout for a chessboard. And I will admit that I am not a chess player, but both of my boys play chess, and they thought it would be really cool to have a chessboard quilt. So I don't know if I'll do an entire chessboard quilt. I did a layout that my husband really liked that I will probably make him a wall hanging out of, which is the 6 pieces with just the center part without the sashing, and then I did it in such a way that it looks like a shadow box. And you can actually see that on Sew Hooked. I will put a link to the post that has all the chess pieces in the layout, and it shows the chessboard and everything. Patterns are always more fun when they're a little bit geek-tastic. Week I have been really busy. I've got a lot of things going on. Next week is a new There and Back Again, and we've got a prize drawing next week on Phantom and Stitches. Another thing on my blog that you might enjoy looking at is I made liquid hand soap, a gallon of liquid hand soap out of a recipe that I saw on Pinterest, which takes a bar of soap, it takes 2 tablespoons of liquid glycerin and a gallon of water, and that's all that's in it. It was really easy. It took about 10 minutes to make, and then it just sits all day until it starts turning into the actual consistency of liquid hand soap. And then you just refill your hand soaps with it. So that was really neat, and it was super cheap. I just happened to have a bar of soap that I had gotten as a present or something, and I had never used it, and it was tea tree oil soap. So it smells really nice, and it made a really nice hand soap, but it wasn't something I was really going to use for anything else. Don't forget about the Sew Hook Challenge. This is the last week to post your pictures for the Sew Hook Challenge. There have been some really phenomenally fun pictures posted for the Sew Hook Challenge. I will put a link in the description, but basically you make any pattern, tutorial, whatever that I created that was on my blog or Phantom and Stitches or wherever else, as long as my name is attached to it. You make it, you take an awesome picture of it, an action shot, or take a picture in a really interesting location, and then post it in the Sew Hook Flickr group, and make sure that you tag it Sew Hook Challenge. And all of that information is in the challenge post, and I will put a link, and if you can't find the link, it's in the right sidebar on sewhook.com. You will see a little badge that says Sew Hook Summer Challenge. I will be posting about the Phantom and Stitches design challenge next week, so you guys look for that. It's going to be really fun. I am still looking for prizes, so if you have some awesome quilty prizes, if you own a shop or you are some sort of awesome crafty person that has some really cool thing you would like to donate for a prize, get in touch with me. It is a design challenge, so that's something to keep in mind, and I'm trying to gear the prizes towards quilters, but anything crafty would be awesome. I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap it up and get this online, and you guys have a fantabulous crafty week. I hope you do a Talk to Me Tuesday, and I will see you guys next week.